Welcome to another episode, the Choose Your Soul Show. We are your hosts. My name's Hakeem,
My name is Alyssa.
and we are passionate about providing resources and perspectives to help you choose yourself and strengthen your soul. This week's special guest is a mother, a truth teller, a fitness lover, and a certified gut gangster who helps women stop shitting sideways, literally and metaphorically, and start healing from the inside out. She's on a mission to help get your microbiome back in alignment so your life can follow. If your mood swings, sugar cravings, thyroid, libido, and skin have been wilding, this woman is your gut's best friend and your ego's worst enemy. So buckle up, unclench, and maybe grab a probiotic. Because today we're diving deep into the gut, the glory, and the gritty truth with the one and only Melissa McAllister, y'all. Round of applause. Thanks for joining us. How you feeling?
Oh my gosh, that was the best intro.
Yeah, that's how we do.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Which is why, it's so funny because I found you on my For You page for Instagram, whatever they call that. And it was your rhyming that just instantly hooked me. I love your message, but just as soon as you started these rhymes and your cute little laugh that you do, I was just like, I love him.
That's
So
the
poetic.
one.
So
Yeah.
poetic.
Appreciate
We
it.
love it. We love
Thank
it.
you.
We're so excited to have you. And so why don't you tell us what was the moment when whether was it a breakdown or a diagnosis or just a deep knowing when you started to realize that your gut was off and that your life was trying to get your attention? Like what was the wake up call that turned the discomfort into the devotion to figuring it out?
Well, yeah, I think we really truly underestimate how much our gut plays a role in how we look physically, how we feel emotionally, how we handle relationships, the struggles that we have trying to accomplish things. We always go for the quick fix. For me, that was just a constant thickness in my middle, and I just couldn't figure out why. So I was dieting and trying to figure out why can't I just have this little tiny waistline and flat belly? I've always had abs. Just like Hakeem, I've always had abs.
Shredded.
Yes, but I always kind of looked descended and I was like, this isn't right. And so I was always trying to figure out diet, but sometimes it just wasn't diet. It was, how's my life? How's my stress level? How's my sleep? And so when I really started, diving into it's more than just the foods that you're eating and also what you're eliminating, there's so many different aspects to your gut that play such a huge role in how you look and feel that I think people underestimate.
Yeah.
Why is that? It's fairly new to the fitness industry. I know I've been in athletics for 20 years. I never heard about gut health. I heard about nutrition, consumption, and what to eat, but I never
Yeah.
talked about the gut compared to our ability to perform and elevate and recover as a better athlete, which I'm sure it's probably heavily into the professional athlete industry now. But why the shift, do you feel?
Well, I feel like we tend to disassociate, especially the emotional side of how we feel with the gut. Even as a kid, you heard about, the second brain, but you just never really put so much emphasis on your gut as you do your heart or your brain and all of that stuff. And so once we really started learning the science that your gut is just as important as cardiovascular health and brain health, it's really starting to get more popular, but we still look for the quick fix. And healing your gut, if you've done years and years of eating, processed foods or being under tremendous stress, physically and emotionally, it's going to take you a long time to fix the gut. And people kind of want that quick fix. And so we tend to not, think it's the gut. It's like, for instance, when you're bloated, what do we see on social media? It's all about, bless these influencers have this beautiful, pastel colored bottle. And they're like, you're bloated, then take this pill. It's going to help stop the bloat. But why is your body bloating?
Mm-hmm.
You got to go
Exactly.
past the symptom and you've got to figure out what it is that's making your body bloat so that you can fix the problem instead of just constantly taking pills that could actually perpetuate the problem.
Mm-hmm. And do you think it's like obviously certain types of foods can make you bloat, but do you think it's what other factors cause bloating?
Oh, goodness. Again, stress, low sleep, of course, certain foods, but it's not even the quote unquote bad foods. Some people get mad when I say bad foods, the less healthy versions of food.
The shitty food, y'all. It's the shitty food. Y'all know what it is.
Yes, you're preaching to the choir. There are foods that are bad for you, but it's even the health foods. Like say, for instance, you have a protein bar every day, and to you, that's healthy because we're pushing protein so heavy on our audiences that we think that, no matter what you eat, as long as it's high protein, but it's full of those artificial sugars, that's really hard on the gut. And so we have to take into consideration, are we staying hydrated? Are we watching our stress? Are we sleeping? Are we putting whole foods into our system and really limiting these ultra processed foods. And people just, again, will think it's because I have too many beers. Absolutely, that's going to play a role. It's not even just that. What about the healthy foods that you're eating that you think are so good for you that could be destroying your gut as well?
Right.
Yep.
Especially with those prepackaged things. It's like learn how to read the ingredients list and see what's on there that's not healthy, because I don't like eating those either. All whole foods, because those protein bars, especially, and like different, even shakes, like shake mix that you get sometimes, like you have to learn how to look at the ingredient label and see what's actually in there.
That's why you got a GYM.
Mhm.
Grow your mind.
Yes, sir. I'm 51. And so even the 80-20,
You look great.
well, thank you. Even the 80-20 rule is difficult for me at 51. I feel like kind of the older we get, the closer we got to get to 85, maybe 90%. But here's just an interesting figure that I tell people all the time that they don't kind of wrap their brain around when it comes to even eating 90-10. Say you eat 3 meals a day, 7 days a week, that's 21 meals. So 10% of eating a little off brand, off character is still going to be 2 meals a week. So that could be Friday night and Saturday night. That could be Friday afternoon lunch and Sunday morning brunch that you can eat off plan. So if you tell yourself, I'm still going to be 90% good to my body and only 10% a little bit naughty, that's 2 meals a day. And that's really honestly plenty each week, is to have 2 meals that, maybe you have the pancakes instead of vegetable omelet.
Yeah. No, I'm a huge advocate for the 80-20
Yeah.
because I still like to go out and have fun. And like, listen, find your balance. If you are hooked on sugar every day, you don't get a 20% cheat meal on Friday. You already eat sugar every day. You got to find out how to break free of that. If you
Yeah.
already have a glass of wine to go to sleep every night, you don't get to have 5 on Friday and call it 80-20. You already at 40.
Yep.
Okay, so break free first. That's why I do the 30-day challenges. No sugar, liquor, weed, porn, nicotine, caffeine, no processed food, no gluten.
Yeah.
No instant gratification. And I
Yeah.
tell you, if you can do that for a week, your dopamine baseline resets, your
Mhm.
awareness, your ability to choose intention over emotion. Where's your gratification? Instant
Yeah.
or delayed? Because you can play with your life, but it can't be replayed. This ain't a game.
Mhm.
Okay.
And
It may seem like a game and a simulation, but you can play it, but you got to be character of your own show.
yeah, it's funny that you say that, Hakeem, because I try to do online challenges most months. And I was thinking to myself, what's the next one that I can do? And I thought about, can't steal my idea, not that you would. But it's called the abstinence challenge, with ABS for abs, because obviously some people are really, really good with moderation and some
Mhm.
people aren't. And they really, truly need that abstinence, just like you said, even if it's just for 30 days, for them to say, I'm going to cut out all of that huge list that you just said. And I need that accountability and I need that support to do so, because it's a challenge to get people to not have that glass of wine every night to relax. But when they're in that community of supportive people, that can happen. And what a difference their life would be if they just could have that 30 days. And I really think once they've had that 30 days without that stuff, going back to it will be harder, because they'll realize how good they feel and how many problems that they have actually fix themselves without needing a medication, without needing a bunch of supplements, without needing stuff to fix
Well,
themselves.
now, then you get a different measurement. What healthy is. Right now, your healthy is going out twice on the weekend, brunch, spending outside your budget, but you did better than you did last month. Now, your new baseline will be none of that. And the productivity, effectiveness, the sleep, the appetite control, your positive mindset, all those things now contribute to an experience that you can revisit once you start falling off. If you don't have a baseline of purity and effectiveness and intention to visit, to be like, oh shit, I just
Yeah.
had 3 glasses of wine this night. Well, if you have one every night, that's not odd. That's actually success, but it's still detrimental because it's past 20%. Now you go a whole week without it, without smoking weed to sleep, without smoking before you eat, without taking an edible to go in public. Now you start to realize differently that you have a power in there that's been blocked, and there's a lot of static inside by glyphosate, quick fixes, freaking pesticides, GMOs, all this fake sugar, all this stuff that, like you said, we thought we was eating healthy, but even your salad at the stove that's conventional probably got bullshit in it. We thought we was eating healthy, but guess what? It's made from the same damn farms as every other salad at McDonald's.
That's so true. That's so true. So let's do this group with me.
Yeah, yeah, I will, depending on my schedule, because I got some party days planned out in my year coming up. I always try to squeeze that 30 days in between 2 party days because I like to get it in. But
Yeah.
what What's one thing every woman thinks is normal, but is actually a sign that her gut is off? Because you help women, right? You specialize in helping women, but obviously it's for all of us. But women
Yeah,
have a
absolutely.
completely different challenge. First of all, fit women are the most powerful beings on this planet. With the hormones, libido, the cycle, the weight management, the body composition, all the imbalances, and you still find a way to stay dedicated and fit, y'all are the greatest. I look up to y'all. But so what is one thing that is a sign that are for women, especially that their gut is off?
Well, it's what I've already mentioned, and it's the bloating. It's just not part of being a woman, which is what you hear constantly. Chronic bloating is your gut asking for help, and you can't ignore it. So if you wake up bloated, or you bloat instantly after you eat something, or you bloat 2 or 3 hours, I mean, you have to really pay attention and listen to your body, because I guarantee most of our listeners have bloat at some point in their day, or some point in their week, or some point in their month, and they don't even pay attention to when it is. They're just like, I get bloated. But if you get bloated instantly, obviously the issue's in the stomach. But if it's a couple hours later, we're talking more intestinal problems. So number one, it's bloating. Most women will say, I get bloated, but it's because of my period, or, my mom got bloated too, or I know it's just because I ate too much fiber, whatever, but they really truly don't pay attention. And so when the bloating comes about and they talk to someone like me, they can't give me specifics about it. And that's the first thing I want to tell women is start kind of journaling or paying attention to when any kind of symptom comes. Maybe it's even you feel slightly depressed at certain times of the day, and so you go to the doctor and you're like, yeah, I just feel depressed. What are they going to do? They're going to put you on an SSRI. But maybe it has something to do with your gut, because obviously a lot of your hormones are produced in your gut that help with mood. And so when you're having symptoms of your gut, and I'd have to say bloating is the biggest one, pay really close attention to when you ate, what you ate. Were you in a stressful situation? Are you dehydrated? Just anything that you can write down. Did you have a really poor night's sleep the night before? You're going to start to see patterns, and you can really be your own advocate at that point and be like, okay, this is starting to make sense. I get bloated every time I talk to my boss on the phone. So
Damn.
you got to fix that, because your gut will respond to physical and emotional stress so heavily. We don't just have any idea how much things that happen in our life will cause us to be uncomfortable in our gut.
Yeah. And even the way, some people are so just depressed and full of anxiety and stress. And it's like a lot of that could be with your gut health. Like if you just fix your gut health, it's going to help your mental health too.
100%.
Think about when you get sick to your stomach, people throw up when they hear bad news.
Yeah.
You're so angry you can't even eat. You're on
Yeah.
a date and somebody says something about something from the past and you can't even eat the damn steak you ordered. That's the same thing we're talking about. I've been in that situation. I took that to go though, because I ain't wasting that. Shoot, you pissed me off. Give me my steak. I'm out of here.
Take that home. Yeah, no, that's true. I have male clients, but they're usually one-on-one. But women, we always work in a community, because that just works better for women. That once they really start just paying attention, I always say that God or your body and or both start by giving you little tiny whispers, and maybe a tap on the shoulder telling you, hey, something's not right. Do you hear me? This is not good. And you really should pay attention to those whispers or those taps on the shoulder, because those whispers will eventually become a, hey, I'm talking to you, a loud voice, like a stern parent. And then it gets to the point that it's grabbing on the shoulders and shaking you like crazy and screaming at the top of the lungs. And that's when you're really in deep trouble. You've got to learn to listen to those taps on the shoulders, or those whispers, the little tiny things like bloating, like gas, mood swings that you just can't seem to figure out why you have these mood swings. It's mostly and usually tied to the gut.
Yeah, absolutely. Following your intuition, especially as women, like listening to those little, and it's really quiet, your gut or the whispers from God or your body. It's really, really quiet at first. So you have to, when you get that little nudge, you have to just follow it, follow the nudge, because it's trying to tell you something. And then it does get louder. And then you're exactly, you get into deep shit. Oh. But can you break down how gut health impacts our menstrual cycles too?
Yeah. So people don't realize that our gut actually helps metabolize and work through our hormones, especially estrogen. And so if our gut isn't healthy and it's not working properly, we're going to build up estrogen. And that is, obviously creates all sorts of problems. It could be the belly fat. It could be, you're way more emotional. It could be that time of the month is just a lot more harder for you than it is, even for your sister, somebody that you're related to, that genetically you're very similar. but because your gut is messed up, you're not working through your hormones like you should. And so they're very imbalanced. So again, women don't realize that because they're not taking good care of their gut, that this has to do with fertility. This has to do with their menstrual cycle, their perimenopause, their menopause, all of that. If the gut is off, all of that is going to be way worse.
Hey, and the pain is not a bad thing. It's painful,
Yeah.
but it's a signal for change.
Yeah.
That's all. Because you
Yeah.
ain't gonna listen if your freaking arm is dying, starting at the fingers,
Yeah.
and you can feel everything in it. It doesn't go numb. It doesn't start to hurt. Eventually, you're gonna lose your whole body because you don't even care. The pain receptors is trying to tell you, hey, listen, your finger hurts. Hey, your back because your glutes are weak, or you slept wrong, or hey, don't sit down like that for long. Your feet gonna get swollen. It does stuff like that to tell you you need to make a change. It's not a state of mind to dwell in, and it's also not something you want to mask or ignore. You better tap into it and make time for your health. Tap in to any resources online. We all three got communities.
Yeah.
And you probably part of a subscription that you don't even use.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem. Reevaluate, but that reflection and mindfulness is important. And I truly think it starts with your time before and after your sleep, what I call the foundation for you to give yourself time between yesterday and tomorrow. And sleep is the most important thing. Well, I don't know. What do you think? Sleep, nutrition, exercise. If somebody was messed up in all three, where would you start?
Shoot. Yeah, definitely the sleep, because the nutrition part and the workout part are impossible. You're not going to have the energy to work out. And as far as nutrition goes, your hunger hormones are so off whack if your sleep is out of balance. So you're going to struggle so hard to eat well because you're just constantly hungry, even though you're really not hungry.
Yeah. Well, there's a majority of my growth partners and people self-chooses in the CYC are women. And in the past, there's one of the biggest excuses is thyroid and hormones. How can a woman evaluate where that is being impacted negatively, or where can they start to get those back into balance?
Well, the thyroid is kind of a hot topic and a big word right now. And we tend to put it through its paces. And so it does get dysfunctional very easy when your thyroid isn't working properly. Nothing else, just like your gut, is not working properly. First and foremost, listen to your body. I mean, even if you have to just sit in a quiet room and just do a scan, maybe it's every morning, as often as you can think of, like, how do I feel? Do I feel clear-headed? Foggy? Am I cold right now when I shouldn't be? Am I sweating right now when I shouldn't be? How's my heart? Is it palpitating? Do I have a higher heart rate? Just for goodness sakes, do a body scan on yourself. Maybe your children too. You love your kids. They're not very good at doing it themselves, but sit down with them and do the same thing with them to learn about your kids. When you do that, after that, I really do think going to a doctor, like a functional medicine doctor, and saying, this is what I'm feeling. Conventional medicine doctors are wonderful, but I have found that functional medicine doctors listen a little bit more to, I'm having symptoms or I'm feeling off, and trying to find the root cause for you. And so, for instance, your thyroid, you're like, I'm cold all the time. I really am trying to lose weight, and I'm struggling to lose weight. And I don't know why. I'm doing all the things. And have them test your thyroid. And just like your cholesterol, so most conventional doctors will only test your TSH, which is only one hormone. And it's just like when you go to have your cholesterol checked, they only would check maybe your total cholesterol. They didn't check your LDL. They didn't check your HDL. They didn't check your triglycerides. There's so many components to your thyroid: free T3, free T4, antibodies, all of these other markers that you need to know. Because even if you get a TSH that comes back and says, hey, you're good, if something else is off, you're not good and you're not optimized and your thyroid is not functioning right. And so you're going to feel it in all different areas of your body that you're like, didn't even know that had anything to do with my thyroid.
Yep. Hey, do your research, because same thing with STD screening. You
Yes,
go
sir.
get tested for chlamydia, you might have some other shit. Now you're out here spreading it around with confidence, not even knowing. Do the full panel screening, get the
Right.
blood work, scan everything for every test possible. That's one thing I do like about Big Pharma
Yes.
is they have the testing and it's
Yes.
quick. And then
Yes.
you can do it effectively. But then when it comes to the care recovery, go backwards to what got you there and take some things out before you start taking other things. Like go get the testing for sure. Go get the evaluation, the EEGs, the X-rays, the ultrasounds, freaking all that. We got that at our fingertips. Not a lot of people do. Some people just have to do some shit where they cut open a pig and bleed in your mouth. And we don't have to do that. we get the full scan. So take advantage of that. Get all the testing you can. For sure.
Yeah.
I gotta take my ass to my primary again too. But
Not spreading with confidence.
spreading with confidence. But I was gonna say, because you were talking about kids. You have a kid? You have kids, right?
I have 2 kids, yes.
2 kids.
Mhm.
How did you teach them to be mindful about their consumption? Do they go to school, public school?
They are 28 and 30.
Oh, okay. So, well, because nowadays, like they're trying to change the school lunches and everything, and the vending machines in
Yeah.
the school, and I think that's a big part of what the
Oh,
mental
huge,
health is,
huge,
the surge on our kids.
huge. Yeah, I'm actually at the point where I'm hoping for grandkids pretty soon. And so to see the public schools, just raising children in this day and age right now is scary. My children are in no rush, and I kind of don't blame them. As much as I want
Same.
kids, but just with the world of social media, which, you could 100% circle right back to your gut. You're feeding yourself, and this is a huge platform for you, sir. I know that it is that, you're putting that negativity in your life, how bad that is for you. But, it quite literally will give you a disrupted gut if you just sit there and watch social media and you watch where you're comparing yourself to other people, or you watch things that make you angry, or you watch things that make you sad all the time, and you don't have any idea of that kind of consumption, how bad it is for your gut, which then again will bleed out into your skin. It'll bleed out into you being bloated. It'll bleed out into you being, foggy headed. And then you're like, I don't understand why I just can't keep my thoughts together.
Mm.
I'll never associate it with the fact that they live on their social media, scrolling, doom scrolling, as they call it, right? Content that is wrecking their health.
They wake up with it. They wake up in their bed and turn to their phone right away in the morning. And then you're like, okay, why are you so anxious? I don't know, because you just saw a million bad things happening in the world and you're not starting your day correctly. It's terrible.
Same with
I
the
like
news.
make all my friends plug their phones in the bathroom. Like plug your phone in the bathroom. I'm
Good
not good on the weekends, but like during the week, I'm not having that shit by my head because it's terrible for you. And the EMFs and the electromagnetic field, and it's all bad. It's all bad.
That's
It
the
really-
first step. I
Mhm.
say, imagine you got a bubble around your head. Okay. Whatever penetrates that bubble, all 5 senses, I mean, I guess around your whole body, because now we're talking about touch, all that's going to impact your mindset. It's going to impact how you feel about the world, which means it's impacting your future, because then you're seeing your life and your decisions through a lens that penetrated your sensory input and told you a certain thing about the world. And what they try to do is get you scared to go outside and talk to people. They try to get you in isolation so that you go back to Big Pharma and ask for help, so that you go back to them. They try to keep you away from outside. That's why they put all these black people out here killing each other. No, I'm just playing. That's because it's really happening. But they don't got to do all the black people. Some white people doing it too. Okay. But the news is skewed, is my whole thing. So the news, the social media, the ad campaigns, you don't see no independent ads in Times Square. You see Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Canes, freaking Applebee, all the rich people, because that's where they know they get you hooked, because that shit is addicting. They got crack in the dang cheese, because that
They're
shit is
gonna,
good. But
yeah.
you got to break free first, so filter your
Yeah,
senses.
it's huge.
Cheese is just as addictive as cocaine, I've heard. Isn't
I
that
love
funny?
cheese. Shit.
I know, me too. I'm from Wisconsin. I'm from
but
Wisconsin, so.
but it's not as addictive, let me tell you. I tell you, been there. Nope, not as addictive. I never stayed up for 6 days on cheese. I tell you that.
Oh
Oh
my
shit.
gosh. Really quick,
Yep.
I wanted to run back about hormones though with women, because I think it's so insane that I'm 35. So I would say around when I was 33, I just started learning about the cycles of my hormones and like the luteal phase and the follicular and the ovulation and the menstruation. I had no idea there was 4 different stages until this late in my life. I'm like, why aren't they teaching us that around the age when we get our periods to understand our hormones, because they're so much different than men. 28-day cycles compared to a 24-hour cycle. And so eating and paying attention to your gut is really important during those times too, because you could be more sensitive during certain phases of your cycle. And just like really learning that about yourself and paying attention, because and then your mood is different too during those times, because like in your it's, of course, as we all know, even men, if you're like dating someone and then
Oh, absolutely.
and like during
They
pregnancy,
need to know.
it's insane.
Yeah, they need to know. I have woman talk, Hakeem, I'm sorry, but I had very light, easy periods throughout my whole reproductive years. And the only thing that you could tell for me that it was coming was the day before. It's a little bit bitchier and I was a whole
Mhm.
lot hungrier. And for me, that was it. It wasn't really anything real big. And every woman is different. My sister was she was doubled over in bed for 7 days. It was awful. We were so different that way. But that being said, they're all, these different phases. And it is up to a woman, I believe, to advocate for herself. And especially with, Chat GPT these days, to get on there and ask, what are the phases of my menstrual cycle, and how is this going to affect me? What can I expect? What are some things that I can do lifestyle, dietary wise, that can help me optimize myself during this time? So I do think we can advocate for ourselves. We don't have to wait for someone else to tell us, but I'm also going to give a little bit of tough love here. I'm a little bit annoyed here lately on my social media. I've really had to defend intermittent fasting, because there are these women coming out saying that other women should not intermittent fast, and that we should be so different during a certain cycle as opposed to another. Number one, I think you're complicating us women too much, and you're making us paralyzed thinking, oh my gosh, am I doing something wrong? Should I not be doing this? It becomes overwhelming. So you just freeze and you do nothing instead of just trying to advocate for yourself and live a healthy life. I think because we are overcomplicating it, we're just forgetting that we are very complicated, but at the same time, we're pretty simple. And if you just go back 100 years, your grandmother, great grandmother wasn't eating seed cycling, wasn't eating for the certain time of the month. They weren't eating at different times of the day because it was different times of the month. I just think we are definitely overcomplicating it. If you're one of those people like my sister who has a very tough time once a month, it's probably not because you're not seed cycling, or it's probably not because you're eating in an 8 or a 10-hour window versus a 16-hour window. There's something else going on, and it's individual. And so, yes, you need to work on and finding what it is that maybe could be your gut. Let's circle back around. Something wrong with your gut. And so you work on your gut, and then everything else tends to balance for you. But I do think we just overcomplicate that kind of stuff. And there's too many women talking too much about what we should be doing as women. And it's confusing, and it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll get saturated. Anything will, once it becomes popular, because everybody becomes an expert online.
Absolutely.
For sure. That's why you got to use your story for validation. Not validation, but at least talk about stuff you've experienced. That's what and if I haven't experienced it, I reach out and have conversations on a podcast, on the CYC, on lives. I reach out to mentors, and then I just bring the info back if it's in alignment with what I believe. But if you don't know what you believe, you just start spurting shit out that you heard that's trendy, that's now the hot button, trying to get more likes and follows. You're doing yourself a disservice, because now your message is all discombobulated, and I don't even like it no more because you said something last month that don't align with what you're doing today. You got to come
100%.
from a dang place of truth. But we talk about, you got a family. What is the importance of our gut health, but overall health in a relationship? Because I think people are seeking health for the wrong reasons. Being, I want to be healthy for my future person, or I want to be healthy for in case I meet somebody. How does that impact your relationship? You guys have been together for a long time, I feel like. And he's jacked too, y'all. Big ass jack dude. So I know they advocates for that in that family.
Yeah, I pressure the poor man to keep him healthy. Together, we've been married over 30 years, but we've been together 35 years. We're high school sweethearts. And it's funny because he was the one in the relationship early on that was the healthy guy. I wasn't. He met me playing Super Mario Brothers, eating a bag of Doritos, and drinking Coca-Cola. And it was his interest in health, and not necessarily health for what we see healthy today, but just because he liked the taste of real food. He hated margarine, wanted real butter, hated, things covered in sauce anyway. And I just started taking an interest in that. And so being high school sweethearts, then I went to college for dietetics. And from that point on, it's just been my love. He triggered that for me. So he hasn't been super hard to keep healthy, except for the beers and the margaritas.
Nothing wrong with those, y'all. Trust you. Well, I don't do margaritas. I do straight shots, but I feel them though.
Well, we are in Mexico here, so we have to have our margaritas. And I just talked about this on my own podcast. When I do my research and when I am looking for things for health, for me, it's longevity. I am not looking to find out healthy stuff for aesthetics or anything of that nature, or what's going to, give me great results right now. I am looking for longevity, and I want my kids to live a long time. I want my husband to live a long time. I want to live a long time. And so it's the things that we're doing today that have that super delayed gratification that I'm trying to teach my family, that is going to make you healthy 40 years down the road and not just, 4 months down the road. And so in prime example, and I totally understand if you disagree with this, I love every macronutrient has its day in the sun. I grew up in the 80s where carbohydrates were everything. I also grew up or went through, especially during college and the start of my career, where high fat was the darling, and now it's protein. And protein has its time in the sun. Protein is so important, don't get me wrong. And I do think we underconsume protein. So everybody do need to increase it a little bit. But I think, as we always do, just like with the fat and the carbohydrates we were eating, everything was low fat, high carbohydrate diets. Everything was really high fat, low protein, I mean, we tend to overdo it. Some of us that I see on social media are overdoing the protein a little bit. Having people, especially women, concentrate so much on protein that they miss out on a lot of fiber, they miss out on a lot of micronutrients. And for longevity's sake, we are better with moderate to moderate high protein intakes, not super high protein intakes. I don't think a 120-pound woman needs to have 150, which I do see people pushing that 150 grams of protein a day.
Damn.
90 to 100 is fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say for me, I weigh 150-ish, 140. So I try to get 80 grams a day. Is that good?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do
Great.
think that it's also great because protein does, turn on certain processes in the body, which create growth, which when you're in your 30s, that's great. But when you're in your 50s and 60s and 70s, even though you do need more protein as you do get older, we turn on that process and it's constantly on. And there's some things when you get older that you don't want to grow. And so you need to give your body that break. So don't ever feel like, oh my gosh, it's like your steps. If I don't hit those 10,000 steps today, I'm doomed. If I don't hit those 140 grams of protein today, I'm doomed. It's okay if you have a lighter protein day. Don't beat yourself up over it. As long as you're consistent and you get a good amount of protein over time, you're going to be just fine. But it's this end all be all that you just have to focus on protein. And it's really a balance.
I'll be saying, man, flexibility is the key to structure. This is what I help with everybody who I work with. Get you a minimal routine consumption and get you ideal routine and consumption. For me, it would be digital sunset at 8:30, read in bed by 9, sleep by 9:30, up by 3:30, choose myself around the house, set the foundation, stretch, cold shower, do my hygiene, gut clean, super green routine, okay? And then tap into my creative side, the feminine side, as some would say, where I get to be present and walk and talk and flow. I get to create that, talk. I have to literally be present to do all that. So I do all this during my full foundation. Sometimes I don't have time. I'm just up, shower, out the door. I don't get to do none of that. I'm going right 10 minutes cardio, 20 minutes weights, and I'm out. I don't get to stretch for 30 minutes. I don't get to freaking do all this creation around. Sometimes I just have to do the things that I need to do to keep the fire ablaze. So I have an 8-hour foundation, including my sleep, and a 12-hour foundation. The 4 hours is my flexibility. Now I know I have to do the foundation at least twice a week, the full. So find out what that is. What's your full day's worth of consumption, and then figure out what the minimal is. And then as you plan your week out, be like, okay, this might be a mini day. This might be a full day. But don't do it so tight that if you miss it, you're off the whole week, that you're short, if that makes sense. And everybody's different. Figure out, what that is for you, the minimum and the ideal amount. So at least you can have some compassion for yourself.
Well, let me, being a podcaster myself, let me turn the interview on to you guys.
Oh, shit.
And this is going to be hard to answer because everybody's so different. But if there is just one thing, because you just gave such a beautiful, spectrum of all of the wonderful things you do to make yourself healthy, there's got to be, if there's one thing you could have the whole general population stop doing to better themselves as an individual, as a community, what would it be? And for me, as silly as it sounds, I would love to see people quit eating 3 hours before they go to bed. For a whole host of reasons. But number one, because like we went back to, sleep is so important, and people will get such a better night's sleep if they're not digesting all night long, if they don't have a completely full belly, and they allow their body to heal and their brain to do what it's supposed to do when the blood can go to the brain instead of to the gut to digest. I could go into a whole boring spiel about that. But for me, I would love, and whenever I see somebody say, you don't gain weight if you eat late at night. If you're in a calorie deficit, absolutely you don't. But it does trigger you to want to eat more the next day because everything is off balance. So yes, it does.
Mhm.
So that's
I
one
like
of
to
my
say for me.
one of my pet peeves. So for you two, because we talk about how, choose your soul, choose your life. I love that. What is the one thing that you're just like, I see this way too often. And I think if the majority of people could do this one thing, what would it be?
I would just go back to what I said earlier. Stop sleeping next to your phone because then you wake up and you scroll on your phone every morning. So what if you plugged your phone in the bathroom at 8 p.m. and you didn't allow yourself to get on it until, like, let's say you leave at 7 a.m. What if you woke up at 5:30 and you had a whole hour and a half just to yourself to journal, to breathe, to do meditation, to exercise without any phones? How much different would your life be? And how much different would you be acting to the people around you? That's my one thing. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, hey, shit. Foundation, man. I said between your digital sunset and your digital sunrise,
Mhm.
no people, screens, or toxins. Just you, yourself, your thoughts. I don't care what you do in that time. You can sit there in silence. I bet you learn some shit. Just sit there and say you're bored. Say, I'm bored, man. I wish I could have my phone. I want to watch Netflix. Just sit there. Do that for a week. I bet you start meditating. You start getting downloads. You start thinking. You start cleaning up places you didn't. You're like, I might as well clean my closet finally because I ain't got nothing else to do. Well, that's what needs to go. But you're never going to get to your closet if you're on your phone or you got
Yeah.
somebody in your bed or you freaking smoking weed. Now you're laying, god dang, looking at the stars on your ceiling that you got from a projector in the corner, wasting your time away.
Go
Because your
outside and
eyes
look at the real stars. How about
see,
that?
no, but I think, yeah, just that time before and after your sleep. If people would prioritize that as sacred golden nugget for your future, super delayed, and you make sure that you're disciplined to that time like it's a dang boarding time for your vacation.
Yeah.
When I started, it was like no sleepovers during the week. You got to leave by 8. 2018, my ex, I used to be like, you got to leave by, oh my God, it's 8:02. Get the hell out. If you start combating, we're going to break up. Because now I'm trying to transform and you're tapping into my boundaries. This is what I have to do. And some people may not like it, but you get your curfew, alone time, and the digital sunset. Same thing with no toxin screens, no food, and just really prioritize you falling asleep
Mhm.
and then waking up and setting the intention for the day.
Yeah.
So foundation for sure. We all saying the same thing.
Mhm.
Prioritize your time before you sleep so you can get your sleep and do everything else that you say you want to do.
Yeah. Yesterday I was up at 3 a.m. and I had my journal out on my deck because it was hot finally here in Minnesota. If you sit with yourself without the phone, then you're going to have emotions come up and then it's releasing too. So do that and look at the stars. And also it's so important too as a mom, because I have an 8-year-old. He'll be 8 in like a week, 2 weeks. But having alone time without him, like moving around every 10 minutes, like, hey mom, look at this. He's going to repeat the same thing like every time. Like, you already told me that. Okay. But just having that alone time so that you can recoup yourself without all the chaos around your life, like especially as moms, if you can do this. I just see so many of my friends that are so anxious and stressed out, especially with like there's a lot of shit happening in the world, right? And they're constantly consuming all of the news. I'm like, okay, it's good to be aware, but like take your focus off of that. Why don't you go create something? Like, what do you love doing that's creative outside of your phone? Like, go knit a sweater or crochet or whatever I don't know what you love to do. Paint, do anything. Do anything off of your phone to clear your head because it's really messing up our mental.
It really is. And I think too, who we follow.
Exactly. Why are you
Follow.
following all the negative news sources? Like,
And
you
all
don't
the
even have
big
to follow
booties.
them. If you want to find out, just go to their page. You don't have to be following it. Like, unfollow that shit.
Yep.
They do it
I
on
would.
purpose.
That's why they be putting them sexually explicit ads on top of dang dog pages. I said, I came here to learn how to train a dog. I want to learn how to train a dog when I get one in the next 5 years. And you got titties and ass bouncing on my screen in the middle of the
They got
day. I'm
paid
on the
off.
train.
They
What do
got
you
paid
expect I'm
off.
gonna think about?
Yep.
What do you
100%.
expect? I need to not see that. Now I got to lose one of the best pages that I follow. And
Mhm.
somebody said the other day, if you look at somebody's following list, you'll learn a lot about their mindset. Just if you
Mhm.
start dating somebody, go see who they follow. Go look. If it's all Instagram models and freaking big rich mansions and luxury well, that's not bad, I guess. I mean, I don't know if you're looking up like luxury vacations or homes, that's might be a manifesting thing. But if, if you got like whatever freaking controversial views that aren't in alignment with you, save yourself some time.
Mhm.
My girlfriend told me too that now you can see what they like. So it's not even because they may not follow these accounts, but you can look and see what reels or posts that they like. If you're a single woman and this guy's showing interest in you, but you go to see all the stuff that he likes on his social media and it's just what you said, that's a big red flag.
Mhm.
Oh, that's why my likes been going down. Because all these wives stopped liking my pics. No, I'm playing. But that might happen. That might
Sure,
happen. Like now
sure.
people likes going down because you got all these men out here don't want their wives to see what they be like.
It's 100% probably true.
That's
But
screwed, y'all. Shoot. I don't like stuff that's not in alignment because otherwise it'll just start popping up more
Mhm.
that's true.
in the
That's
first
fair.
place. You know?
Mhm.
Well, you know, I'm in the health and fitness space, and my Explore page, even though it's health and fitness, the still shots that they'll put there are very sexual, and I'm beside myself because I'm like, is that what I think it is? Because I think it's explicit, and then you click, it's not, but it's just they purposely, and I'm just like,
Right.
this is
Clickbait.
ridiculous, but it
The
works.
clickbait for sure.
I freaking gave my phone to somebody this past weekend and I went to the search and I was like, type your name in. It's just all these jack dudes with their shirts off. I'm like, listen, I just am trying to see what exercises to do and how to get a six pack. I'm not into that, but it's just like all these buff ass
Same.
black dudes on my fucking page with their shirt off. I'm like, oh shit, I ain't been liking them, but I do be tapping in and seeing, what their
Same.
strategy is on getting jacked like that without drugs. Because I
Mhm.
ain't doing no steroids. A lot more people are doing that. You heard about that? A lot of people are doing the performance enhancing
Mhm.
drugs.
Oh yeah.
What do you feel about that? How for obviously not longevity.
Especially here in Mexico, where my husband and I spend most of our time here. You can go, it's over the counter. So you can get
Oh,
all the, you can
Damn.
get Ozempic, you can get, the Anavar, you can get all of the steroids over the counter. I
You know
see
that.
there's a pharmacy, 3 of the 4 corners. You can't take literally 20 steps without there being another pharmacy because they're very profitable because the tourists come and they can get all their stuff. Whenever we go into the busy parts and the touristy parts of Mexico, it's mind-blowing to see, and try not to stereotype, but you see a certain man and woman and you know exactly what they're getting. And
Yeah.
it's so easy here, and it's so unregulated. It's scary because it's dangerous, very dangerous, especially when you're trying to dose on your own, looking up some jacked guy who tells you that he does it and that it's safe and that as long as you do, this amount, you're fine, and they believe it. And so they start doing it. Same with women. They start, doing unregulated, diet pills and stuff like that.
I'm only doing period, man. That's what do you suggest? Do you have your own product for gut repair that you help with your clients? What do you suggest to people who are trying to repair
Oh
their
yeah,
gut?
no, not my own product, but I think you should eat your prebiotics. I don't think you necessarily have to take a prebiotic. I get those get those fermented foods in. I do think a probiotic is great, but my take on it is people will buy a probiotic and stay on it. And I'm like, you need to switch it out. So many different strains. You need to switch it out every couple of months. Don't stay on the same one, get a different one. My platform is, as much as people come to me, and it's usually because their hormones are out of whack, I always have to remind them that it starts with your lifestyle. We have to look at your lifestyle. How is your sleep, your stress, your diet, your fitness? If that's not correct, if you're not doing your best there, that's where we start. But if you're doing as well as you can there, then we have to go to gut health. Because like we talked about earlier, a lot of your hormones are produced and worked through your gut. So even though you think it's your hormones, it's probably your gut that's messed up. So if you fix your gut and you're still having hormonal issues, then we go to hormone testing and we check to see how are your hormones. But people always want to skip the lifestyle, and they even want to skip the gut health, and they want to go straight to just give me BHRT
A
or
shot.
that. Yeah, absolutely. And so
Dang.
I think a probiotic is very, very important. From that point on, it's very individual, but glutamine is obviously good. Bone broth is great for there's just so many simple things that you can incorporate every
I
day.
love bone broth.
Yeah, so good for
Hey,
us.
recovery starts with preventative action, y'all.
Oh,
So you
amen.
recover faster, the fitter you are. The more habits you have in place, the systems you have in place, the easier it is to recover. Trust me, after a night out, I go right into my gut health. I go right into the sauna, stretch, cold shower. It's not hard for me to do all those because I do them every day. So I just do what I've been doing and it helps me reset. Now, if you think you're going to wait for the doctor to tell you, hey, you stop doing this, you're going to die. You think that's going to be the trigger to get you to change your life? It might. You might have a new kid in your life. You realize you can't keep up with them. That might be the trigger, but it's going to be a lot harder when you're depending on an external variable, external trigger to find that willpower. Then if you were to take small changes over time, every day, starting right now, so that when that comes, hopefully it doesn't come for a lot more time than it would. When that comes, you already have the momentum and you have the system and you have the results and proof of choosing yourself to be like, I'm going to continue to do this instead of trying to do it all at once.
Yeah. And I think that another issue is you have these really healthy individuals, seemingly healthy individuals that will tell you it is okay to have the cookie, or sugar's not the problem, it's something else. But I've worked with so many clients. Number one, the moderation versus abstinence. So when you tell someone it's okay to have the cookie, for that person, that one cookie is so hard because they want the one and then they end up eating the sleeve. Or saying that sugar's not the enemy, which it's not. But when you tell people it's okay, they tend to allow more in their system. And if they're, metabolically inflexible or they're, pre-diabetic, that extra sugar is not good for them. It's same with leaky gut. People will say, gluten's not bad. Gluten causes leaky gut in every single human. It's what it does. But if you have a healthy gut, those little chambers close up quite quickly. And so it doesn't cause you an issue. But for somebody who has a really dysbiotic gut, those little holes stay open. And that's when you have severe issues. It's not necessarily the gluten, and it's not gluten to human. It's how healthy is your gut. And if your gut isn't healthy, gluten is going to be way worse for you than for somebody who is healthy. So you have a healthy individual saying gluten's fine, but they're not taking into consideration there's people that aren't healthy.
Yep.
Whether emotionally because of the one cookie is fine. You're okay to have 2 cookies after dinner if you can have.
Hey, get to your healthy self first. That's why I say break free talking about those challenges. If you got diabetes, don't eat cookies. If you can't stop spending money, don't go to a casino. If you got addictive genes in your personality, don't be going out thinking you can find a balance in drinking. Break free of your urges and cravings to where you can go a day without, oh, I think I need. Once those dissipate, you'll have a new understanding for life, and then your balance may be different than anyone else's. But you can't try to be like Rock. He got a liquor company. He be out here sometimes when he wakes up at 4 a.m. every day, and so do I. So find your own balance. If you're not happy with your body, you got to choose yourself to get gains. And if you are happy with your body, you got to choose yourself to maintain. We are not that different. We all got to put in the systems and put in the work.
Yes.
Amazing.
I love that.
100%.
Can you share a story that proves that gut healing is so much deeper than digestion that you have in your experience?
Yeah. I had one client that she was suffering from SIBO, which is a very, very common issue these days. And she just could not get it under control. No matter what we did with diet, what we did with supplementation, she was struggling to get rid of it. But she was in a toxic relationship. And as soon as she got herself out of that toxic relationship, her symptoms just started reversing like instantly. And she was able to manage and reverse that SIBO because of the toxic relationship that she was in, which just goes to show how strong the gut and brain connection is. And that if you have health issues, you're doing all the things, you're seeing a nutritionist, you're really trying to fix yourself, and everything that seems to be working right isn't. You've got to look past the pills and the diet and the stressors and the sleep, and how is your relationships, because those play a huge role in your happiness and your physical health as well. People think it's just, emotionally screwed up because I'm in a bad relationship, physically too. So I see that time and time again, that people that are harboring a ton of stress and they won't express themselves, they're in a bad relationship, they're sad, and it's okay to be sad. Find somebody to talk to. Don't isolate yourself. As soon as you get these emotions under control, the physical side of a lot of things that are going wrong start to heal themselves.
Yeah. If you're a woman with the wrong man, your body will tell you. You'll start to break out. Your pH balance is off. Like your body's like, no, get him out of here. Get him out. Like your body's like, okay.
If you got somebody that makes you feel like shit and you believe it, well, then your choices will justify that belief. And that means eating shit, talking shit, feeling shit, skipping your commitments, skipping your health. So you're like, I need to do things to prove that I'm right about myself, because regardless of who made me feel like this, I actually feel like this. And the subconscious will tell the conscious to prove what you believe. So if every time you come home, someone makes you feel like shit, makes you feel like you're less than you are, shrinks you down, you got to walk around eggshells. Well, guess what happens when you go into the world? Same shit. You need somebody else to make you feel like shit, probably your boss, probably your friends. You need them to make you feel like shit. And you need the food you eat to make you feel like shit, because when you go home, you have to be in alignment. Now, when you start to break free, like if you go on a Costa Rica retreat, you'll realize a difference. When you're out there and you're not feeling like shit, then you get to go back and reevaluate your environment from a pure natural state. And that's the importance of changing your environment and finding mentors and other communities that make you feel empowered, so you can have the confidence to snap back and tell them, fuck you, I'm out.
Yes, as we close the podcast, I wore this t-shirt on purpose. I don't know if you can even see it, but it says
Oh.
Cabo Pomo, because here in Mexico, we're just down the street from one of the most beautiful places in the world to scuba. And because of, I have severe birth defects of my feet, and they're ugly. There's just no denying it. And as a kid, I always hid them. I never got in water. I would always hide my feet in the sand, and I would never leave my towel because I didn't want people to see my feet. So my husband I married, he's got a tattoo that says more danger, more fun. He's an extreme, the likelihood of it killing him excites him, to say the least.
A true man.
Oh my gosh. Scuba diving is just one of the dozens of things that he does. And he would always do it without me. And so just this last time I was here in Mexico by myself, I surprised him and I got certified myself, which was one of the scariest things I've ever done. But it's one thing I want to tell your listeners as well. Take care of yourself, but also get yourself out of your comfort zone and do things that, especially if you have a fear that really isn't that rational. There's no reason for me to be afraid of scuba diving. I didn't have a traumatic event. I really never even heard of anybody have a traumatic event. So there was no rational reason for me to be so afraid of this. And so when I faced my fear, I can't tell you how freeing it was. And now we enjoy doing this together. And so take care of yourself. Don't live in a little tiny bubble. Expand your horizons. Learn this world. Do things that are a little bit scary. I encourage it because it will make life so much more worth living if you do that.
Grow
Agree.
your mind, not your waistband, y'all.
Come expand with us in Costa Rica in October. If you're listening to this, link will be below. But Melissa, this was such a good conversation. Thank you so much. Why don't you tell us, how can people find you? How can they work with you? What do you have? What offers do you have available? And we'll link them in the show notes.
So you guys are babies compared to me, but I don't know if you remember the show on MTV called M.A.D.E.
I don't.
Hell yeah.
I don't remember that.
Hell yeah, I remember M.A.D.E.
I was that show. I love that show because I love to watch it and I love to watch people be made. And so that's where Melissa M.A.D.E comes from. So if you put melissamaid.com or Melissa M.A.D.E on Instagram, I'm not on TikTok, you can find my website or my Instagram. And the Melissa M.A.D.E is, me trying to help people be made into what they want to be. And so you just type that into Instagram or Google and you'll find me.
Amazing. We'll put that below. And if you listened to this episode and you liked what you heard, please leave us a review. We love the reviews, leaving written reviews, and follow us on the Choose Your Soul Show on Instagram. Tag us in your bios, DM us, anything that you need from us. We are here for you.
Thanks, y'all. Choose yourself to strengthen your soul. See you on the next show.